mindenkit. Hamarosan
The Defense Council meeting is about to begin, as the brutal military action the past few days suggests that this war will be longer and more brutal, compared with the hopes that the world has been nurturing or could have nurtured in recent weeks or months. We must therefore also be prepared to face longer periods of political attacks on us because of our pro-peace stance, and longer periods of defense against the pressures that will be exerted to push us further into a war in the neighborhood. For the last half an hour or so, I have been in talks with my colleague Sergey Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia. We have reviewed the war situation. We have reviewed the possibility of peace. We have reviewed the chance of peace. We have reviewed the situation that has emerged from the increasingly active, intense, and destructive military actions of the past few days. I have confirmed my position that Hungary is on the side of peace. We are interested in a ceasefire and peace negotiations. I therefore thank Sergey Lavrov for the initiative to resume the Russian-Ukrainian peace talks in Istanbul today. And I also thank him that these peace talks have taken place even though, following the military actions over the weekend, many people from inside and outside try to persuade the Russian government and the Russian leadership not to hold the Istanbul talks. Fortunately, however, negotiations are taking place at some point in Istanbul at the moment, and we hope that some progress can be made. I was also delighted that Sergey Lavrov and Marco Rubio, my Russian-American counterparts, have once again spoken on the phone. This is reassuring news for Hungary, because we in Central Europe know that as long as the Americans and Russians are in direct contact with each other, the risk of escalation of war is lower. So I asked if I may put it like that. I urge my colleague Sergey Lavrov to keep in direct contact with the U.S. government. But from what he said, I concluded that, and this is good news, there is a mutual will on the part of the Americans and the Russians to maintain this direct contact, this intensive and continuous direct contact. We have also talked about energy cooperation between the two countries, Russia and Hungary. Russian energy sources are key to Hungary's energy security. Russian gas and oil ensure that Hungarian families pay the lowest utility bills in Europe. If the European Commission Brussels cuts off Hungarian-Russian energy cooperation because it wants to support Ukraine, it will mean that Hungarian families will have to pay twice as much for their utilities as they have had to pay up to now. This is obviously unacceptable to us. Today, my colleague Sergey Lavrov also confirmed Russia's commitment to maintaining Russian energy cooperation with Hungary. The long-term contractual framework for oil and gas supplies is in place. The infrastructure is in place, and the Russians continue to meet their contractual obligations. This was confirmed today by my colleague Sergey Lavrov. So the good news is that Russian direct contacts with the U.S. are continuing. The good news is that the Americans are taking a rational position. My colleague Sergey Lavrov said that it is good news that peace talks are taking place today in Istanbul, but there seems to be a sharp rift within the transatlantic community. While President Donald Trump wants peace, and we support him in this, Western Europeans naturally want the war to continue in alliance with the Ukrainians. And this makes it more difficult to make peace, and foreshadows that this war will last longer and more brutally than we would have hoped. Hungary will not give up its pro-peace position. We will not give up our energy cooperation with Russia, and we will continue to support Donald Trump's peace plan. So I talked about this for about half an hour with my Russian counterpart.